Throughout the years of Warcraft, the Old God Whisperers have been some of the best and most interesting bits of lore. However, with the way things have been going with Shadowlands, we realized that they may just be a bit more than simple flavor text that could go beyond Shadowlands. Many of them seem to be referencing the Jailer for some reason, the undoing of the universe, and a potential void/light invasion. So what are some Old God Whisperers that will actually be happening quite soon? If you're looking for an RPG to start playing right now from your pocket, then use my QR code or my link to download Raid Shadow Legends, the sponsor of this video, for mobile and PC. What makes Raid really stand out from other games is the Doom Tower, essentially a giant prison filled with the worst monsters, and it is your job to gather an army and to get it under control. Regular floors are easy, but the bosses are where the challenge lies, so you will need a really specialized team to succeed. This is also what I like about Raid. You have so many champions to collect, combine them, and strategies are just endless. Right now there are non-stop special events, including a Halloween lineup towards the end of the month, as well as big rewards, so it's never been a better time to start. If you want to start on the right foot, check out my link or the QR code, get the epic hero Chonoru, 200k silver, 1 XP boost, 1 energy refill, and 1 ancient shard to summon champions immediately. Rewards will be right here for the next 30 days, so see you in game. The 7th covets what the 6th hold fast. The fulcrum wavers. All will be undone. This one is a bit of an exception, as it is not from Il'gynoth or an old god, but from a relic found in the Shadowlands known as the ever-living statuette. The Whisper is also the easiest one to decipher out of all of this, and pretty much just predicts 9.2 and beyond. Almost obviously, this just refers to the 7 cosmological forces that all of you know of already. The 6 you're familiar with, this is the light and the void, and the 7th, which is confirmed as the 7th, are the first ones. As you might know, first ones came in and ordered all others and created this mechanism, this life and death cycle. The fulcrum might be a bit confusing word if English is not your native language, but simply it means the point where you place the lever on, so essentially the fulcrum is what keeps the balance on both ends. The fact that it wavers means that the balance of the universe is slipping away. All will be undone more than likely signifies Jailer reaching the sepulchre and doing whatever he plans to do. The Vassal of Life disguises treachery. Beware the eyes of green. This is a strange one and probably the hardest one to predict. It could totally be about many things in the past, but I feel like it is more relevant than ever because, you know, the green dragon Ysera is playing a crucial role in the Shadowlands. Ysera was seen as the pet of Elune, aka the vassal of the Life Titan, as, you know, that is what Elune is, a Life Titan. However, this implication that there will be treason is actually huge for the future of the Shadowlands. What does this actually mean? Does it mean that Ysera is a double agent, maybe serving someone else, and that her resurrection by the Winter Queen is a Trojan horse brought right into Ardenweald? My first and only really thought about this is how she intervened between Tyrande and Sylvanas but didn't actually attack. She just kinda stepped in there, even though she obviously could attack Sylvanas. Could that have been done on purpose? Honestly, this seems kinda far-fetched, but really one of the most interesting whispers that could really go either way. 5 keys to open our way, 5 torches to light our path. This one has been more relevant than ever. Initially, we thought it was related to the dragon fights, then we figured it is obviously the Pillars of Creation, as there are 5 of them, and they were the most important relics that saved the world against the Burning Legion. However, recently with what happened in the Shadowlands, this was the fuel for one of the best speculations in regards to the future of World of Warcraft. Obviously, as you know, there are 5 sigils, with the Arbiter being the 5th one that opens the key to the Sepulchre, aka the portal of the first ones, aka light the path. However, as these are the old gods talking, does this mean that this has been their plan all along? Does it mean that they want Zobal to open the sepulchre to uncover the mechanism of the first ones so that they can swoop in? Because as they say, 5 keys open our way. Just like the light one, which I will mention in just a bit, this whisper is the biggest foreshadowing for a void invasion and us finally meeting these fabled void lords and the old gods really getting the full glory that they deserve. The Lord of Ravens will turn the key. This is the most confusing one, and previously it was connected to either Medivh or Khadgar. However, recently there have been speculations that it could be Uther or any of the other Forsworn in general, because, you know, they kinda look like ravens in their darkened form. By turn the key, who knows what that really means, but if Arthas will appear in 9.1, Uther could definitely play quite a major role, aka turning the key. On the other hand, there is also an ongoing speculation that Khadgar is the Raven, that he's present in Oribos, as for some reason there is a mysterious NPC known as the Watchful Raven that we don't even know who that is. Additionally, this could also be related to Odin, as we know his eye is the eye of the jailer, so Odin's role within Shadowlands could be crucial. At the hour of her third death, she will usher in our coming. This one seems kinda obvious related to Ashara, because, you know, when she was defeated, Nazad was released, so she ushered in their coming. However, there are two other plausible theories that are even more interesting than the original one. The most sensible one is that this is related to Sylvanas, and I know you may be thinking, didn't Sylvanas already die 3 times? And you are right, she was defeated once as a Ranger General, she threw herself off the Frozen Throne, and she was defeated in Gilneas. However, the third time she didn't really die, she was just rezzed by the Valkyr, and this might actually be really interesting, because recently when we learned about the mechanisms and all that, we learned that when a Spirit Healer or a Valkyr rezzes you, you don't really cross the veil, so you don't really die, so this third death might not have actually happened. It could imply that Sylvanas will ultimately sacrifice herself, and when that happens, something big will happen, maybe a void invasion. On the other hand, there is also a bit more of an outlandish theory, and that is related to Azeroth. Azeroth never really died, but it was wounded critically 2 times. First, the Well of Eternity, second, the Sword of Sargeras. So what if the third time is when the Jailer comes for the World Soul, and when that happens, the coming of the Void Lords might happen, or Azeroth just may be up for grabs for all the cosmological forces. Now, definitely a bit of a wild speculation, but it does make sense. Its surface blazes bright, masking the shadows below. Initially, we believe this relates to Azeroth and the Old Gods, you know, surface, everything is bright, but the shadows are masked below, aka the prison of the Old Gods, you know, below ground. Then what further made sense is the surface of Azeroth, but the wound of Sargeras and the poison being the shadow below. However, a really interesting theory is a possible foreshadowing for a future light invasion, which has been a really interesting concept and one of the most likely invasions to happen next. This definitely ties in with Inaru and perfectly explains how our view of them shifted over the years. They are literally shards of light with their surface blazing bright and, you know, bright, and then when we learn more about them, we realize that they're really not all that cool and bright. For example, Xera literally tried to force convert Illidan to become her servant. They took over Alter Draenor and forced the orcs to take the light, and they imprisoned Illyria for even attempting to learn about the void. So this one definitely seems like a great setup for a light evil concept. Boy King serves at the Master's stable. 3 lives will he offer you. So, the Whisper might be the most obvious one, and you would think, how does this really predict any future event? Didn't this already happen with the start of 9.1? And as you all know, the Boy King is obviously Anduin, he serves at the Master's table, and the lies might relate to how he infiltrated the realm to gather the sigils such as Passion, and the Master is obviously the Jailer. However, what if the Master isn't the Jailer, and this might just be related to the first ones? Masters could be the actual Masters, aka the architects of the universe, the first ones. What if Anduin will ultimately serve at their table, and the lies he will offer us are yet to happen, leaving a lot of room for future events? 5 lanterns, now darkened, the flame they seek will light the Master's way. This one originally seemed to be related to the Dragonflights, as they used to be the protectors of Azeroth, but they essentially lost their teeth, aka lost their light. However, with the sigils and the Shadowlands, this quote is starting to become a lot more interesting. 5 lanterns could obviously be the 5 sigils, as in the Jailer took all of them and now they're darkened, as in he took the fire. The flame they seek might be the sepulchre of the mechanism of the cycles of the universe of the first ones. Now, something you might have easily overlooked here is that it says masters as in plural. It doesn't say master, and this could really mean many things. It could be referring to the Void Lords, which could be the potential invasion, Void invasion, or it could also mean two other things, either masters as in each master of every cosmological force, or the masters of the universe, aka the first ones that shaped everything. Could this mean that the first ones will return as the lanterns have been darkened, the lanterns that they have initially set up? The Golden One claims a vacant throne. The crown of light will bring only darkness. The Old God Whisperer, and possibly the biggest foreshadowing for a light bad expansion. Initially, I thought this was about Anduin, and you guys just roasted me about it because it is almost entirely just about Turulyon. Technically, it could be Anduin as he is the Golden One, his throne is vacant, and he's now serving darkness, but this being Turulyon is without a doubt more likely. Turulyon is the leader of the Army of the Light, one of the main light people, aka the Crown of Light. He claims a vacant throne, meaning that he's now leading the Alliance as the throne is vacant as Anduin was abducted, and this will bring only darkness is an excellent foreshadowing for a future light bad expansion. We think that we have this super experienced, perfect paladin that is the embodiment of all virtues leading the Alliance, but ultimately, not only will he not bring justice, but he may just be a pawn serving the interests of the light, and it is definitely possible that Turulyon will be the Yrel of Azeroth and he will attempt to convert our planet to join the Naru, which might just throw us all in a big whirl. Her heart is a crater, and we have filled it. In regards to this one, we have three dominant theories. This one comes from Ilganaut, and it either refers to Sylvanas or Azeroth. Now, in regards to Sylvanas, this is obvious, her tragedy and all that, we have filled her heart, and now she's working with the jailer. That I don't really think this is exactly likely. The second theory is in regards to the Arbiter, and you gotta say it makes a bit more sense. Her heart currently is a crater, as the jailer took the sigil where the heart is supposed to be, and now we are recreating the sigil in order to reach the sepulchre. The last two-part theory is in regards to Azeroth, which is also quite a bit likely. The first bit already happened, so it's not really a prediction, the wound of Sargeras' sword and the heart of Azeroth. However, the more interesting theory is in regards to what will happen in the future. We know there are multiple craters in Azeroth. First is the massive wound from Yasharaj created thousands of years ago by the Titans, which turned into the Well of Eternity, and the second is the sword of Sargeras' wound. This could definitely be a prediction in regards to what will happen, as many things are hinting that Azeroth will really be relevant in the future, as it is the secret that the first one sought to hide. So it is entirely possible that the Void plans to fill the crater once Zobal takes what he needs, which could be hinting at a possible Void invasion. Thank you for watching. Check out the other WoW 2 is possible by clicking on the screen, and also check out Doronsmovies Academy for videos on real world history and science. See you next time.